Roger that.
Roger that.
Roger that.
Roger that.
We've heard that phrase thousands of times. In movies, on airplanes, or in military campaigns. People don't say, okay, got it, or even understood. Instead, they say one crisp, confident word, Roger, or sometimes, Roger that. It sounds cool, professional, even a little cinematic. So, why Roger? Who is Roger? And why do people use what sounds like a random person's name just to say, I got your message? Today, we're breaking down what Roger really means, where it came from, and why people still use it. Right here on the Daily Why. To understand Roger, you have to go back to the early days of radio communication. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, radio was still new and unreliable. Signals were weak, static was everywhere, voices got distorted or disappeared entirely. Saying a long sentence like, I understand your message clearly, was risky because half the words could vanish into the noise. So operators needed something short, sharp, and unmistakable. That is where the letter R came in. In Morse code and early telegraphy, R was shorthand for received. It simply meant, I got your message. Quick, efficient, no confusion. But here's where it starts to get interesting. As voice radio began replacing Morse code, saying just the letter R was no longer clear enough over crackly speaker. R could sound like other letters, like A, O, or I, or just disappear into the noise completely. So communicators needed a better way to say letters out loud. That problem led to phonetic alphabets, systems where each letter is represented by a full word instead of just a single sound. The goal was simple: make each letter easier to hear, harder to confuse, and much more reliable over bad radio. Today, most people know the phonetic alphabet as alphas: Bravo, Charlie, and Romeo for the letter R. But that was not always the case. Before the modern NATO phonetic alphabet became standard, the military and aviation world used earlier versions. And in those older systems, the word assigned to the letter R was not Romeo. It was Roger. So when someone said Roger, they were not referring to a person at all. They were simply saying the phonetic version of R's, which meant received. That is the whole idea. No mystery man named Roger. No famous commander hiding behind the phrase. Just a practical radio word doing a very specific job. During World War II, that usage exploded. Military radio chatter had to be lightning fast. Every second mattered. Pilots could not waste time with a long reply. Instead, they simply said, Roger, one word, clear, done. Soon it became standard across the military. Roger was not just an acknowledgement. It was a signal of professionalism, precision, and discipline. And because it had become so widespread, people kept using it long after the war ended. Later, the phonetic alphabet changed into what we now know as the NATO phonetic alphabet: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and so on. And R officially became Romeo. But by then, Roger was already too deeply embedded in culture to disappear. Pilots, radio operators, and soldiers kept using it out of habit. It had become tradition, and practical traditions tend to survive. Now you might wonder, what's the difference? Roger, not always mean you agree or will comply, just that you heard it. Copy came from the phrase copy that down, meaning you wrote or recorded the message. And understood implies that you not only heard it, but fully comprehended it. In high-pressure situations like combat or aviation, those distinctions really matter. Precision saves lives. Miscommunication can cause disasters. So these short, standardized words each carry specific meanings. And then there is Roger that. Technically, it is a little redundant. But language evolves socially, not logically. People add that for emphasis or clarity. It sounds more conversational, more confident. Movies and TV helped push it even further. Once Hollywood got hold of it, Roger that started showing up everywhere on screen. Cops, firefighters, astronauts, and even sitcom characters were saying it. The phrase crossed over from strict technical language into pop culture coolness. There is also a psychological angle. Roger sounds sharp and confident. It carries authority and cuts through the noise. Unlike "okay," which can feel casual or even uncertain. In intense environments, tone matters. A crisp Roger feels reliable. It reassures the sender that the message did not just drift into the void. It says, "I'm here. I heard you. We're synced." That tiny bit of confidence can make a big difference when coordinating people under pressure. And that is what makes this word so interesting. What sounds like a cool bit of movie dialogue is actually a piece of communication history hiding in plain sight. It traveled from Morse code to wartime radios, then into cockpits, then into movies, and finally into everyday slang. Today, people say Roger that jokingly at work or in text messages without realizing they are echoing a century of communication history. So next time you hear someone say Roger, remember there is no mysterious Roger person involved. What you are hearing is the result of a long historical process. If this surprised you, leave a like, share it, and subscribe for more surprising stories hidden in everyday things. Thanks for watching The Daily Why, and see you in the next one.